Today, we're diving into a really critical time in the life of Mustafa Kemal, a period that often gets overlooked. We're talking about his stint as a military attaché in Sofia from 1913 to 1915. Now, this was no ordinary diplomatic job. Think of it more as a laboratory, an intense period of study where he literally drafted the blueprint for a whole new republic. So, let's get into it.
So, let me paint you a picture. It's 1914. Europe is this glittering mix of high society and incredible tension, just simmering below the surface, and Sofia is right at the heart of it. It's a city just buzzing with diplomats, spies, you name it, all swirling through these gorgeous Art Nouveau ballrooms. It's basically the last grand party before the lights go out on the old world.
And right in the middle of all this, we get this puzzle. There's a masquerade ball, and a young Ottoman officer, a guy known for being a forward thinker, a modernizer, makes a really interesting choice. He doesn't show up in a tuxedo. He walks in dressed as a Janissary, a symbol of the empire's ancient military might. So you gotta ask yourself, what's he playing?
Well, one thing's for sure. This had nothing to do with nostalgia. It was a cold, calculated move. All these European diplomats are looking at the Ottoman Empire as the sick man of Europe, and he walks in wearing this costume that just screams confidence in history. It was a power move. And get this, it worked. He didn't just make a statement, he actually won the prize for best costume that night.
So to really understand how all these pieces fit together, we're going to break it all down. We'll look at that costume, then dive into his super detailed military reports. We'll see how a new political idea was born, talk about a major aha moment he had at the opera, and then see how it all combined into what we're calling the Sofia Blueprint. All right, let's start with his day job. You see, his time in Sofia wasn't some kind of exile or punishment. It was a mission. He was a military analyst, and his job was to take apart the Bulgarian army. You know, the same army that had just beaten his own, and figure out how it ticked. It was a deep dive, a rational study of the enemy.
And when I say deep dive, I am not kidding. The man was relentless. From Sofia, he sent back an incredible 95 meticulous official reports to the Ottoman Ministry of War. 95.
As we get into the details of those reports, just a quick heads up, the information in this video is compiled from open sources. And hey, if you're finding this interesting, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, turn on the notification bell, and share and like my videos. It really helps us out. Thank you.
So what was in these 95 reports? Well, one of the biggest things that jumped out at him was the army's structure. He saw that the Bulgarians had this incredibly professional corps of non-commissioned officers, or NCOs. We're talking about the sergeants, the guys on the ground who are the real backbone of an army. And he realized that was a huge weakness in the Ottoman system, which was too top-heavy with officers and lacked that crucial middle layer.
But he was looking at more than just people. He was documenting everything: their cutting-edge German and French artillery, their logistics, even newfangled things like field telephones. But here's where it gets really fascinating. His military homework led him to a huge political conclusion. He looked at Bulgaria, a new nation-state, and saw the writing on the wall for the old multinational empires. He realized their time was up. The future, he wrote, was all about nation-states, built around a single national majority.
And that idea is the perfect bridge to the next big experiment in his Sofia lab. Because while he was analyzing military hardware, he got completely fascinated by the political software of a modern state, this idea of popular sovereignty. He was watching, in real time, the shift from being a passive imperial subject to an active modern citizen.
And he didn't just read about it in books. He went to see it for himself. He became a regular face in the visitors' gallery of the Bulgarian parliament, the Sobranje. He'd just sit there for hours, watching, listening, absorbing how a government could actually be accountable to the people it governs.
And right there, watching those debates, a revolutionary idea began to crystallize in his mind. It's a concept called Milli, İrade, the national will. It's the idea that ultimate power, the right to rule, doesn't come from a king or a sultan. It comes from the people, the nation itself. It's a total game changer.
And there's this one incredible story that just makes it all click. One day, Kemal sees a Bulgarian peasant arguing with a waiter, and the peasant says, "I am a tax-paying citizen, you must serve me." For Kemal, that was a lightning bolt moment. That simple phrase captured the entire difference between a subject who just obeys and a citizen who has rights.
Now, this is so important. This wasn't just some academic thought he filed away. That very principle, Milli İrade, the one he saw in action in Sofia,
It would become the absolute bedrock of the Turkish Grand National Assembly that he later founded in Ankara. You can draw a straight line from that parliament in Sofia to the new Turkish Republic.
Okay, so we've got a modern army and a government of the people. That should be enough, right? Well, not for Kemal. He realized there was a third, absolutely essential piece to the puzzle. He saw that you couldn't build a truly modern nation on politics and military alone. It needed a soul. It needed culture.
So one night in 1913, he goes to the opera in Sofia, and in the middle of the show, something just clicks. He turns to his friend and says something that sounds bizarre at first. He says, "Now I understand why we lost the Balkan War. The Bulgarians have an opera." What he meant was, an opera isn't just a show, it's a whole system. It requires trained musicians, set designers, technicians, a whole cultural ecosystem.
And this gets to the very core of his thinking. For him, art wasn't just some fancy decoration for the rich. It was a measure of how advanced a civilization was. It was a vital artery, pumping identity and life through the whole nation. He realized that a modern army is basically useless if it isn't supported by a modern culture.
And again, this wasn't just an idea he forgot about. Look at the timeline. In 1913, he has this massive realization at the opera in Sofia. Fast forward to 1934, and what happens? The Turkish Republic stages its very first national opera, Osoy, in Ankara. The seed that was planted that night in Sofia had well and truly bloomed.
Okay, let's pull all these threads together now. The military strategy, the political theory, the cultural vision, these weren't separate projects for him. In his Sofia Laboratory, he was weaving them all together into one single, unified blueprint for a totally new kind of country.
So what did this final blueprint look like? Well, it had three main parts that all depended on each other. 1, a modern professional army. 2, a government based on the national will of the people. And 3, a vibrant national culture that gives everyone a shared identity. The real genius here was seeing it as a total package. It's like a three-legged stool. If you take away any one of those legs, the whole thing comes crashing down. And that brings us to the final and maybe the most powerful idea here. His time in Sofia was never, ever about just copying the West. It was about deconstructing it. He was like a master engineer taking apart a complex engine to understand exactly how it works. And why does this matter? Because his goal wasn't just to imitate it. It was to go back and build a better one. The goal wasn't to catch up to the West. It was to build a civilization that could one day surpass it.